Welcome to Stab the Dragon Productions for episode number 228 as we continue to celebrate National Bourbon Heritage Month, episode 7. This will be our final episode for Bourbon Month this year. Coming to you from Fort Worth, Texas, where it is currently a very pleasant 84 degrees, we'll be breaking from the James Beam lineup to finish up Bourbon Month with Oak&Eden Bourbon & Brew. Now, why would I break up what I've been doing with the Beam products? Because, ladies and gentlemen, today is also National Coffee Day, September 29th. And Wednesday coming up, October 1st, is International Coffee Day. So, of course, we'll be celebrating with this coffee-finished bourbon by Oak&Eden. And we are also still in Oktoberfest, so Guten Tag. Just the facts. Oak&Eden was a local whiskey company about 30 miles from my house to the west in Bridgeport, Texas. Their idea was to source their bourbon and rye from MGP in Indiana and then finish the whiskeys in bottle with oak spires that had been soaked in various other things, such as beer, wine, coffee, honey, or the spires had been toasted or French oak spires, a variety. So you can't see it in here, but there is an oak spire in this dark bottle. Sadly, Oak&Eden went out of business earlier this year. So these bottles are disappearing, and so this is now a ghost whiskey. This is a 90 proof bourbon with the spire soaked in coffee and added in the bottle. The batch is B019 and bottle number 0644. There is no age statement, and nowhere does the bottle say that it is a straight bourbon. This bottle costs $55.59 at Goody Goody Liquor here in the west side of Fort Worth. Now, National Coffee Day. Coffee is first recorded to have started in Ethiopia and Yemen in about the 15th century, but I'm sure it stretches back into ancient times as well. But some seeds were eventually smuggled out of the country to Europe and to the rest of Africa and South America and all over. So National Coffee Day in America began in 2005, but gained official recognition in 2009. Internationally, it started in Japan in 1983. And so International Coffee Day will be celebrated on October 1st in 77 countries at least. Tasting notes for this bourbon. This is a perfect blend of coffee and bourbon, with the sweetness of the bourbon and all the coffee flavor that is rich. There's some chocolatey notes, hints of earthiness. This is simply amazing. My score for this bourbon, a 95. Letter grade for drinkability, A+. My recommendation, there's not many of these left. If you find this bourbon out here and you like coffee, buy it. If you've never had a coffee old-fashioned, try it. All right, some details. Founded in 2017 by Joe and Jamie Gildenzopf with Brad Nethery. Their home office and tasting room in Bridgeport, Texas, about 30 miles west of Fort Worth. They used, for the first several years, I guess, Witherspoon Bent Distilling in Louisville, Texas, 30 miles to my east, as the bottling plant. In 2024, they opened a couple of tasting rooms, and they called them libraries, in Fort Worth. My wife and I went to one in Clear Fork, and that's kind of the high rent district, and it was very nice. And then just a few months later, in early 2025, they go out of business? Really? They filed initially for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in December of 24, I found out. But then in 2025, it changed to Chapter 7. So, woof, I hate this. They had a great idea, great products. Maybe somebody will buy the company and do this again. So history, 5 out of 5. Bottle, label, and marketing. The bottles are very big and imposing. The labels are classy. It's, imprinted on the glass there, and then it's a lot of clear space so you can see what's inside. And with the lighter colored bourbons and ryes, you can see the spire sitting there. But with this coffee bourbon, you can't see in there. It's black coffee. You got a coffee colored scheme here on this bottom label as well. So that's kind of cool. And this one, they include the name of the coffee here. They get this from West Oak Coffee, and that is a coffee place in Denton, Texas, about 30 miles to my north. Never been there, but that's who provided the coffee for this. So there are a few reviews out there on this bourbon, but no advertisements that I could find. But word of mouth is strong with this one. So bottle, label, and marketing, 4 out of 5 points. Appearance. You can see how dark that is in the bottle. Let me hold up another bottle here so you can compare. This is an American single malt from Colorado. And then here I've got Ranger Creek 36 caliber bourbon from San Antonio. And so this is exceptionally dark. Here it is in the glass. That is as dark as coffee. I mean, I've had coffees that, dark, a little bit darker, but I've had coffees that light. So there you go. Appearance, that is a 5 out of 5. That score doesn't happen very often. Composition. The bottle says it's distilled in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, and bottled in Bridgeport, Texas by Oak&Eden. There is no age statement anywhere on the bottle, so that means it's very young. Now there's actually no real age requirement to be a bourbon, as long as it's aged in new oak for a day, right? New charred oak. But to be a straight bourbon, it's got to be at least 2 years old, and if it's younger than 4, it's got to have an age statement. So this is probably about 2 years old right here. But it's not a straight bourbon, so probably coming in just under 2. Other than knowing that this is MGP and very young, I don't have a mash bill. One report I saw said that the oak spire is French oak in here, and the spire has been soaked in that West Oak coffee. The bourbon is a 45% or 90 proof, and the West Oak coffee in Denton, that coffee shop, was started by a couple of firefighters. This bourbon won a San Francisco Double Gold about 5 years ago. I do have some unanswered questions, about the mash bill, so it's going to get 13 out of 15 for the composition. Let's nose the whiskey. And that has a very nice nose. I do get a wonderful blend of bourbon and coffee. So you get the sweetness of the bourbon, a little bit of sweet corn going on there, but you also get the aroma of coffee. A fantastic nose, actually. This is probably going to be one of the absolute best nosing bourbons I've ever had. It gets 10 out of 10. And that never happens. I mean, I've got a nose that just refuses to smell bourbon, but this one's good. All right, let's taste it. And the taste is true to the nose. This is just a beautiful blend of bourbon, the sweetness of bourbon, and coffee. Now the coffee does seem to hide a little bit of the bourbon flavors, other than the sweetness, the sweet corn. Some of the spices do come through. It's a sweet, spicy coffee. It's got a nice kick to it. So there's, I don't think I'm going to get any vanilla or cinnamon here. Maybe nuts. I don't think any fruit. But with the coffee, I'm also getting some chocolatey notes. Dark chocolate, bitterness, tobacco, wood, some earthiness. I mean, this is just all kinds of good. This is amazing. This is a 24 out of 25. This is one of the highest rated bourbons I've ever had. 24 points. Mouthfeel, burn, and finish. It does have a medium mouthfeel for 90 proof, about right. And the bourbon is young, so I could have wished for a little bit older bourbon. But I wouldn't call it thin. I'm going to say medium. Surprisingly good burn. That's appropriate for 90 proof. It does stay in the mouth and the back of the throat. Does not go up in the sinuses. Doesn't go down in the chest. The finish is medium to long. I mean, that coffee flavor lingers. Some of the burn fades into tingles that linger for a while. But that coffee, I mean, you're getting some chocolate notes and some earthiness that are lingering. This is really just amazing. So for mouthfeel, burn, and finish, 13 out of 15 points. Neat or mixer? All right, I love this one neat. But when I got this the other day, I said, I'm going to have to try a coffee bourbon or a coffee old-fashioned. Coffee bourbon old-fashioned. There we go. So sit tight. I'll be right back in just a minute. I'm back with a coffee old-fashioned. Now, how did I make this? I obviously used the Oak&Eden Bourbon and Brew. I put in a few drops of orange bitters right there. Put in about a half a shot of grind espresso, double espresso. This is made with rum and Arabica coffee beans. And I drizzled in some Mozart dark chocolate liqueur. I've got some orange peels in there. So let's see what this tastes like. Wow. That is simply amazing. Yeah, I put a little bit more of the Mozart chocolate in there than I did the other day. And that was not a mistake. So this has got the sweetness of the bourbon, the coffee flavor full on, and then a little bit stronger chocolatey notes going on. The orange, not really coming through this time. Did the other day. But I'm here to tell you that this coffee old fashioned absolutely works. So for neat or mixer, 5 out of 5 points. Price, value, and availability. I got this at Goody Goody for $55.59. It was also available at Specs for $54.73 here on the west side of Fort Worth, but Total Wine did not carry it. And furthermore, with this company going out of business, this is now a rare commodity. It is a ghost whiskey. Please don't go out and buy them. I plan on buying more. So there you go. Price, value, and availability, only 6 out of 10 because it's hard to get now. But otherwise, is this got good value for the price? 100%. Absolutely. I will. If I find this again, I will buy it again. Bonus points, 5 bonus points, 5 out of 5, because this is amazing. Giving me a total score of 95, a letter grade of A+ for drinkability, my analysis and recommendation. This is really the only coffee bourbon I've ever had, and it was amazing. Really surprised me. But now they are out of business. Much sadness. So if you find the bourbon out there and you like coffee, buy it. But if you have never had the coffee old-fashioned, you have to try that. So I really hope somebody resurrects this whiskey brand, because I think that the in-bottle finishing with the spire, I wish, This is so dark you can't see the spire, but it's really pretty cool looking. I think it's genius level, and I've had about 6 of their different varieties of Oak&Eden. They've each been very good. I mean, really. Some of them have been finished with wine, some with 2 different types of beer. Those were really good. There's a bourbon finished with beer, and there's a rye finished with beer. Amazing. There's one finished with French oaks spire. So, yeah, rum spire. There's one of them, a rye that had finished in rum. So I highly recommend this, and I hope somebody resurrects the company. All right, next up, I hope to do a video for American Catechism covering the 1835 Battle of Gonzales, Texas. And there I will also look at Ranger Creek 36 caliber Texas bourbon, as well as a little bit of Texas history. And then following that, we're coming up also this week, you have the anniversary of the Battle of Mogadishu, Black Hawk Down. The 10th Mountain Division was there, and this is 10th Mountain American Single Malt from Colorado. This is some amazing stuff as well. And then following all these, on Saturday is National Vodka Day. So I don't know if I'll be able to do a vodka show or not, but you know, that's coming up. But for now, I'm going to say enjoy National Coffee Day and then International Coffee Day. Both are this week. For now, then, this is Stab the Dragon out here.